Hey everybody, welcome back to the Five Dudes of Fuse podcast. Tonight we're going to be doing another in our series of versus topics, and we're going to be pulling this one out of a hat. So we have no idea what the topic is we're going to be discussing. So Ted, you do the honors.
Ooh. I mean,
out of a hat is better this time than out of Ted's boxers last episode.
Oh my God, yes. It was so wet.
Why is it better? Why is it better?
Moist.
It was moist. Moist.
Oh, I hate that word.
All right, we've got the official topic. Here it goes.
Drum roll, please.
It's a music one. Stones versus Beatles.
Oh, shit.
Oh!
Yeah.
Well, speaking of music, here's our theme song. Hit it.
Five dudes. Reviews. Five dudes. Reviews. Five dudes. Reviews. Five dudes. Reviews.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Five Dudes of Use podcast. Tonight we're going to be doing a versus, and we just picked a topic out of Ted's boxers. No, I'm just joking. It was out of a hat, and it's a very tough one. This is probably one of the toughest ones that we were discussing in our versus topics when we picked them out. This is the Stones versus the Beatles, two huge music icons, very influential bands, tons of hits. I don't even know where to begin. I got to think for a minute. You guys talk.
It's just crazy to think that Jagger and Richards and Lennon and McCartney created, like, two guys per band created such incredible music. Like, I can't even fathom, like, the songs that these two guys wrote.
Yeah.
It's like magic.
And yeah, like Billy said, like they influenced so many other artists to follow. I mean, especially, the Beatles changed the sound of music, literally, like, and still artists today look to those albums to
draw inspiration
as influence.
Yeah.
I mean, you always hear
It's
like
unreal.
the Robert Johnson story where he met the devil at the crossroads and sold his soul to play the guitar. Like, you wonder, like, did these guys meet with the devil as well? Did they sell their souls to get all these good songs? I mean, it must be an amazing thing. Even though the Beatles didn't play a lot live at some point, I mean, the Stones can go out and play a 3-hour show and still not touch some of their hits.
Absolutely. It's insane. Like, they have so many hits, and the fact that they're still touring at the age that they are right now and still sound incredible, it's so awesome. Like, they're better than a lot of bands that I see today live.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
The energy. I mean, Mick Jagger runs across the stage. Like, I can't do that, like, I wish the Beatles were obviously, like, members are dead, but like, that would have been so amazing to see them in their prime.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
And
a part of me, I don't want to say I'm glad they broke up when they did, but part of me is like, I kind of like that the Beatles broke up when they did, because they went out on top, and like, you never saw a potential like downward spiral where they may have lost like their
True, and they were heading that way. I mean, they were really at.
You never saw them like diminished.
Yep, they were at odds at that point. A lot of infighting, and It was a good time. I agree.
Like the Stones, I love the Stones too. Don't get me wrong, but in a way, I'm like, I don't know. I guess in a way, it's kind of sad. And I'm not saying they aren't good live still, but it's kind of sad when you just see like older guys still like doing shows, and you're kind of like, it's not that they're past their prime, but you kind of, I don't know.
I think Keith Richards has always said, at the heart, the Stones are a blues band, and what did those old blues guys do? They played till they were dead.
Yeah,
like that was their shtick. Like, they always were on the road. So I mean, that's the thing. Those guys are gonna die on stage. Like, that's what they love.
No, and I'm not saying like more power to them. Like, it's awesome they're doing it. I think I'm kind of glad. Maybe that's the wrong word to say, but I'm kind of glad the Beatles.
I know what you mean.
Keep playing when they were old men. Like, I kind of like that. The last memory we have of them playing together is when they were still young and like at their peak. Like,
yeah, I'm really looking forward to that documentary that's coming out about the Beatles. I mean, they got all that, like, tons of footage from them in the studio. It looks great. I love the Beatles. I'm not a huge fan of early Beatles. I feel like it was just very bubblegum pop. And like a lot of those songs, I don't even want to hear those songs anymore. Like Maybe you can drive my car, and I want to hold your hand. Like I love that Sergeant Pepper.
I know, me too.
But forward Beatles, like the post Rubber Soul, Revolver, Abbey Road, White Album. I love that era of the Beatles, and they have so many. All the artists were very talented. They had good solo careers. Even Ringo had a couple of good songs. Mm-hmm. I love McCartney. He's one of my favorite artists of all time, even with Wings and all that. But I am going to throw my pick to the Stones because I feel like the Stones, like you said, they're a great band, blues band. I like a lot of their early stuff, their middle stuff. Even some of their newer stuff was pretty good. I mean, they're still putting out some good work. And I feel like a lot of their songs, I mean, even when I hear, a lot of their hits come on, Brown Sugar or, Tumbling Dice and stuff like that. Like, I still love those songs. Like, they still resonate and they're still just good. And I don't knock any part of their career, even though the Beatles, I don't knock their career. I just say I'm not a huge fan of younger Beatles. So
they were the original boy band.
That's right. My vote goes for the Stones.
Nice.
Yeah. I mean, like to piggyback you, man, I feel like as much as I love the Beatles and appreciate their music, I feel like the Stones just were more rough around the edges. Like Keith Richards said, the Beatles got the white hat. What was left was the black hat. That's the Stones. Like they're I don't know. They're the grittier rock band.
I can see that.
There's so many hits between these two bands, but I'm going Stones.
I have a question, and you guys can all answer. This is like for all four of you.
Okay.
Like which of the two bands did you listen to more when you were a kid growing up, or like did your parents listen to that had an influence on you? Like,
gosh,
I would say Stones. My family really didn't listen to. They weren't like Beatles people at all, or probably Stones people. But at least there was some rock going on in the house.
Yeah, kind of with Billy on that too.
Okay. What about you, Ted and George?
For me, it was Beatles. My mom and dad. I remember being a kid and having my mom would love to listen to the radio when she cooked and stuff. So it was always on KRF 101, and which was a local station here in LA. And it was the Beatles. All their songs. And I remember that just being a kid and listening to that and just being like amazed at how. At the time, being a kid, how awesome it sounded. Of course, there was some Rolling Stones stuff thrown in there too, but for the most, it was definitely the Beatles.
Yeah. What about you, Toad?
Yeah, I mean, it was always on the radio. I had a really strong influence from my cousins, so they were introducing me to the Beatles at a very young age. I want to say like 6 or 7 years old. So I was naturally into like all the bubble gummy stuff. I Want to Hold Your Hand. 8 days a week, that kind of stuff. And then later on, I kind of got into the more like psychedelic stuff. Sgt. Pepper's, Abbey Road. Those are like perfect albums for me.
Awesome, yeah.
Even White Album, Rubber Soul, all that stuff is just amazing songwriting and lyrics. They definitely had a magic chemistry to me. And then what's funny is that my cousins were into Stones, but it just never really like caught on for me. So
like it didn't rub off on you as much as the Beatles.
Yeah, I totally respect them. I think they're a great band. I think they make great songs. I know what they've contributed to rock history. But teach their own. So
the Beatles are such an American institution.
Yeah.
I mean, like they're so iconic. I mean, they had such a touch on so many people's lives, and those songs are so personal. But I do feel like the Stones, are more of a rock band, and that's what I definitely lean more towards.
Okay,
and like Brad was talking about, bands with an edge, and like who knows what the Beatles could have become or done, or even if they wanted to play with each other, maybe that wouldn't have happened. Maybe my opinion would have changed. Maybe if they would have evolved, which I'm sure they would have. But I don't know. I'm a Stones guy. This is certainly a topic that a lot of people would get into a heated discussion.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Oh yeah.
It's if you're a fan of music, it's a very personal topic.
It is.
So, I'll ask myself the question for you guys.
Go for it, Brett.
What the fuck?
Ask yourself.
But I'm like George. My mom specifically was a huge Beatles fan. So I remember being like 3 or 4 and listening to Beatles stuff. Like it's one of the earlier bands.
Yeah.
And like you mentioned, KRF 101, they were like big.
That was the big radio station back in the day.
AM.
That's what they would listen to.
I think. Yeah. For me, I think that's why I picked the Beatles, because I grew up with them, and I didn't really get introduced. Like George said, I knew the Stones when I got a little bit older. But I don't think I really delved into their catalog until I was well into my like teens, probably.
Yeah,
if not 20.
definitely 100%. Like
Okay.
it was more of
But
a
the Beatles
of
just got that
a little
edge
bit
for
harder
me.
band. So as we got older, our taste changed a little bit. So we started leaning more towards the Stones. But like Brett,
Yeah.
I have the nostalgia factor of like really good memories with my parents and them listening to music, and then just me being in the house and
Yep.
my mom
Yeah.
cooking, and you're smelling the food and everything. So I might pick, not to cut Ted, cut in line or anything, but I'm gonna pick.
I
the
already
Beatles.
said mine.
Okay.
Yeah.
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 For me, it's the Beatles.
I'm going with the Beatles too.
All right,
I
so
don't
that's
like the Stones, but
not taking anything away from the Stones because they're awesome, but
They are.
for me, it's just the
Yeah.
all right,
nostalgia
so
factor.
so it's 3
keep
to
rocking.
2. Beatles.
3 to 2.
3 to 2
It
Beatles.
is.
I mean,
Yeah.
could have gone either way, man. I don't
can't
knock
go
either
wrong.
one of these
No,
bands. Yeah,
definitely
can't go
not.
wrong with either choice for sure. But it is settled. The Beatles win. The Stones, they won too. But anyway, the Beatles won, and that's it for that topic. We closed it out. If you have any comments you want to leave, which I'm sure there are probably going to be quite a few, make sure you put them on our pages. We're out there all over the place,
Yeah, let us
so
know.
you can get a
Let
hold
us know
of
your
us
picks.
anywhere. And we'll see you next time. Thanks for listening.
Rock and roll.
I'm pointing my finger, I'm pointing at you.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for listening to the Five Dudes of Views podcast. Be sure to check us out on Apple Podcasts, Libsyn, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, and now YouTube. And while you're on there, be sure to download, rate, and subscribe. You can also check us out on Instagram and Twitter at Five Dudes Views. And we also are on Facebook. Everybody out there, stay safe. Until next time.